Sure, they have very limited power to answer questions. They got this box and they can't go out of that box, and that's I was born and raised in this town, and I dealt with immigration and customs my entire life, going back and forth for my entire life. And I have to be honest, I never had a problem with any of them being rude or mistreating me or, nothing at all. Though I know people that have. I also have experienced some very not so good things that have happened between border patrols and migrants or people on this side of the border. Murders, abuses, it happens. But you're right. They got very specific tasks that they do, and they're not going to answer anything that's out of their little box. And most of their answers are automatic. They have the answer. If they don't, then they just dodge the question. But having been raised on the border has exposed me and my 3 generations that have lived here in my family to what the reality of the border is all about. And it's so different from what people stereotypes of the border on both sides. The people on the interior of Mexico, as well as folks, this last couple of years where we have had so much going on with the border and the wall and all of that. And you hear people talk in Washington and in Mexico City about the border, and you can clearly see that they have no idea what they're talking about. You can clearly see that those are folks that have never been on the border, and they have no idea what it's like to live here and to exchange ideals and projects, and as one community divided by a fence. It's hard for some folks on both sides to understand that we're different, and the mechanics and the relationship between U.S. and Mexico on the border it's totally different from what it is as two nations. And it's last night I was listening to the mayor of El Paso, talk, and even though he's Republican, he was saying it clearly. These folks, including President Trump, has no idea what they're talking about. They've never been here, and so you're going to be exposed to a lot of interesting things, whether you agree or disagree with their procedures, or it's there. It's a reality.
So it's interesting. I mean, it's clear that for people to cross the wall or go into the desert and try to make it across, I mean, people are taking really huge chances, right? And like we've already established, I mean, they're risking their lives in many cases, right? And even people who work for the narcos, right? I mean, that's a really dangerous world that they're a part of, right?
And anyone who's actually part of the facilitation of all of that, absolutely, it's
right?
dangerous.
Yeah, so why are people doing it? Why are people willing to risk life and limb to, What's your? Can you give us any insight into what would motivate people to do that?
So, in our culture, in the American culture, we look at these cartels in a very negative light. Where when you go into Mexico, these people are romanticized. Mm-hmm. There's how we have TV shows about people fighting crime. They have TV shows about these drug smugglers and painting them out in this picture that they're helping these communities by giving people economic opportunities to make money.
Mm-hmm. A sorbo? Do you know a sorbo?
What?
So it's called a sorbo, and it's a maquila that makes wheelchairs and prosthetic devices.
That's cool.
And the people that work there also are in wheelchairs and use prosthetic devices. So we're going to go there, and then we're going to go to the Juan Vasco shelter. And then we're going to talk to migrants and get their stories.
Both sides of the coin.
Is there any questions that you would?
Yeah, do you have any questions that you want us to ask them?
I don't know if legally I can do that.
Really? Why? Why? What possible infraction, right? Like, I mean, maybe you're just curious. Maybe there's something that you just...
I'm curious what they're hearing about these people who have already come over. What's happening to them?
To the people who've already gotten across?
Yeah.
What's happening to them? You want to know what they think.
What the message is being portrayed to
Like relate
Central
that?
America. Like,
That's a good
hey, when you
question.
cross, this is what's going to happen. And like, either you're just going to get let go or...
I honestly thought that, like, I don't know, I didn't know for sure that they were just like sent back eventually, you know? Like, I thought some people were just immediately like just jailed forever. I don't know.
So what does she do with her trash?
¿Y qué es lo que hacen con la basura aquí casi?
Nosotros nos regresamos esa tarde, nos regresamos aquí a la colonia, recogimos toda la basura que pudimos, la echamos en un carro y se la llevamos al presidente municipal.
Oh, dijeron que aquí echaron, ¿como el presidente o quién?
No, toda la gente venía y echaba su basura aquí porque era lo último de la ciudad.
Okay.
Pero nosotros recogimos la basura y se la llevamos, la mitad del carro la pusimos en la casa del presidente municipal y la otra mitad se la pusimos en su oficina.
So like it was kind of like almost like an effort. People were just coming to throw trash here, but like as a form of just kind of like an FU to the president. The community people collected as much trash as they could and left half of it at his office and then half of it at his house.
It's incredible.
Eran las 11 de la noche
At 11 at
y
night.
aquí andaban recogiendo la basura.
So after that, they started getting trash pickup, and
So
they started at like 11 at night. One after that action.
So they are getting trash pickup. So they are getting
So
services.
Yeah,
So they-
they're starting to, yeah.
They're starting
like
to get
electrical things, but like
So this
Es
these
más
elec-
lento.
más lento. Sí, pero si ya andan empezando a agarrar más servicios aquí y todo eso.
La mayoría de la electricidad que ven ustedes la pusimos con nuestros propios recursos.
So they put it up
They
themselves?
financed everything.
They
yeah.
financed it?
Yeah, they basically it was a community effort to put up the electricity. It wasn't done by the city or the government. So.
Las calles también, una de las calles las abrimos nosotros con bala y pico.
Yeah, a lot of the streets were actually created by the people, like with shovels and pickaxes and things like that, like doing it on their own, but as you know, together.
La manera más eficiente de tener un beneficio del gobierno aquí en México es únicamente cuando andan en campañas. Cuando andas en campaña le puedes pedir lo que sea y si está en sus posibilidades, te hacen la calle.
Said that the only time like services are guaranteed or like things will happen, like paved roads, is during campaign season. So like actually, no dijo eso, pero como a big thing, like one of the politicians usually will donate the tinacos with the political party's sign on them, as like they'll give them to people during the campaigns, but also yeah, it's huge advertising, but also like that's the time where you ask for, you know, a street to be paved or things like that because they'll have to do it.
So election season is basically the
Yeah.
time that services get provided, or some get a bone gets thrown
Yeah, basically.
to the people. Interesting.
Tenemos un grupo de la universidad. ¿Cómo se llama? Polo. ¿Eh?
Déjeme hablarle a la directora. Dígale que soy Maricruz. ¿Cómo? Maricruz. Sí, hice la cita con don Francisco. Y las 2 veces que le marqué, ella me contestó él.
Will we be able to take pictures?
Depends, I don't know.
We should ask.
So it was he has a single experience that actually he knows about. Him and his wife own several businesses here, and they own one on Overgoing Avenue, which is in Maine. Right? And in 1982, there was a huge snowstorm, and when they went to go open their store, there was a indigenous woman with 2 children sleeping outside during the snowstorm.
Y pedimos ayuda para que comieran en la calle, pero cuando entré al negocio me asomé por la ventana y vi a una niñita morada, semicongeladas, y me decía Dios, y dije no puede ser que se queden en la calle, ya es sangre ella.
So he had originally just given her a little money to go get food, but then like through the window he saw that one kid's face was almost purple, and like he's like, no, just come here, and then he gave him a place to stay that night. So his personal experience of it is once again being threatened by the local gangs. About a year ago, he was threatened by a gang that wanted him to join, threatened with violence, and then he tried to immigrate during that time, and was caught. So but
He tried to migrate
by himself.
to the United States?
Yes, and he was caught in Ciudad Juarez.
He was
got deported back after spending a
So
month.
he was
in
caught by the
detention.
Border Patrol.
So
Okay.
they caught him, then deported him back, but when he came back to his town, the gang knew that he was there, and then at that point said they were going to murder his family as well. So then he had to come with his family.
Okay.
So the reasoning behind it for him was that it was risking their lives or dying there. Like it was,
Certain death.
yeah. He was explaining that he spent a few months, this is about a year ago when he first tried, and then when he got back to his town, he was trying to hide from the gang. He spent a little while where they didn't notice, and then somebody recognized him again and knew that he had fled to not join, and then at that point they said they were going to murder his family, and that's when he decided to come here. So these are also corridors that are very fought over for drugs, things such as that, and it's become almost a turf war, but it's a numbers game for these organizations that are almost like armies. So the more people they have, but also if you're not with them, you're against them mentality.
Right.
So what how she explained it earlier, it's basically a civil war in this area that's so rural and places such as that, but they also do control the only income finances are coming from drug trade and extortion. So having more numbers means being able to win. So if they're not violently recruiting the people, they could be violently recruited by the other gangs. So it's one or the other. So they, that's why they're so.
Right.
When she's saying that, they're fighting for territory, it's for the drug corridor, the drug trafficking,
Right.
like that.
Right.
So they're having to constantly recruit because so many people are dying, and if they weren't recruiting, making that the numbers would dwindle, but that people are just basically dying. That's why they have to have so many more people join. So when she's saying they're being threatened, normally the normal practice is given a time frame. You have so many days to decide if you're joining or going to kill you. So that's when the majority of people end up fleeing. So
when that threat has been made?
Oh, never mind. Sorry. So the longest. Basically, she was told that like on that thing, like there's been threats of like within 24 hours give us your choice, or we're gonna burn down your house with your family.
Right.
Yeah.
And
they told us yes, this isn't an idle threat. There's been multiple.
Yeah. So ask them if they know people. Do they know people who've been killed? Do they know people that?
Like,
Ya lo han hecho.
yeah.
All of them know.
Both.
Ya lo han hecho.
Are they
saying that her brother-in-law, he was 40 years old, and they told him he needed to join, and at 40 he was like, no, I'm not joining the gang, and they murdered him. Like, kind of the same thing. So it's not, to them, it's not an idle threat. It's something that they've seen happen, and it's something that's completely real.
Are all of them applying for asylum?
¿Y todos están aplicando por auxilio? Yeah. Yeah, all of them are.
Asilo? Sí.
Like, what are they hoping or expecting to find when they do come to America?
Kids. He described his intentions as simple. Like he said, I have a family member that's going to help me out to get a job and work. All of them mentioned the future. Basically saying it's like, nobody has bad intentions here. We're doing it for our kids. We want to see them grow up happy, healthy. He said he would gladly die for his kids to be able to, be happy and grow up, safe. So he just wants to work and give them a better life. It's a natural, paternal instinct to just not want to see your kid dead. So you want, literally what she said, it's common. It's a maternal thing to not want to see your kid dead, so you try to get them away from that type of violence, and you'll do anything to do it.
Right. What were they told before they went on this trip about what they could expect?
Kid saying so his expectation, he saw on the news, through violence, but he doesn't have underage kids. His kid that he's traveling with, so he doesn't have a high expectation of actually being granted asylum. And he was asking me about the process and how they accept people, and I told him no.
Right, because you don't know. Yeah. So he's asking you if you know.
Yeah, and so I'm just kind of explaining it. So I'm explaining that people in the United States have no clue on what's going on, what the process is.
No.
Oh, so it's something that people. So he saw in the news that people were coming here and claiming asylum, and because of the violence in his life, he decided that might be a good option, not really knowing what the process was, just kind of seeing it.
Okay.
But
So having hope.
Yeah.
Esperanza.
So basically, I'm trying to explain that the same thing, that the university students don't really have much clue of what's going on, what the process is, that they also only see a small snippet on the news of what's going on. So the intention of ours, trying to get the actual story, and just kind of reiterating on that portion of it.
Right.
So his experience is more so since he came before with the experiences at the actual crossing of here, that he was caught because there was potential for a group of cartel members that were about to catch them, and they thought they were being kidnapped, so they decided to let themselves be caught by immigration the first experience, because they thought they were going to be kidnapped and held hostage for ransom. But his experience is very different from hers. They're coming from a state in Mexico, so it's different. Les estoy diciendo que la experiencia también de una persona que viene de un estado de México a una persona que viene de Centroamérica. Es decir, pero como ha cambiado un poquito la ley aquí en México, que es un poquito más, dejan más a los migrantes de Centroamérica, hay leyes que han cambiado poco, pero de todos modos de peligro. Ustedes más bien, se vinieron mayoría en camiones para aquí, y más bien se estaban nomás en el centro caminero. So their experiences, they're coming from a state, but they saved up to get bus tickets for them and their families. So the majority of the parts, there are vulnerable population that can be extorted, but they would, they spent 5 days. He spent 5 days. ¿Cuánto tiempo duraron para llegar a ustedes?
Nosotros duramos 5 días.
So 5 days and 5 days is the power trip, but they would basically stay at the central bus stations and wouldn't leave there because I guess it's common practice to try to rob people because they know people have their life savings with them, things such as that when they're going, so they would try to stay in the same area. Her experience is quite a bit different, she's coming from a different place. Pasando diferentes países es como también el agregado peligro, y usted como que la mayoría del camino como que se duraron como más de 2 meses, y que era la manera de viajar.
Pues los agarraba ya a la tarde
¿Y cómo lo de los casos de migrantes?
en internet.
Okay, so she said that like there's different paths that people take, and then there's a network of migrant shelters. And I asked her how she found out. She's like on the internet.
On the internet.
Yeah.
Pues nosotros sí lo venimos viendo, en qué estado estamos, qué estado sigue, solo por el celular.
Do they all three have access to the internet?
See, both they didn't have cell phone internet access. They had an uncle that traveled with them that had made the trip previously, so he kind of told them what the process was.
So that uncle who had made the trip and got across.
So he had done it previously, but he had returned, and then he was doing it again.
Okay. So do they have family in the United States? Do they or friends or?
I mean, all of them do.
All of them do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So for the most part, like that's not what they're saying. They're saying okay, so most people that are coming and asking for asylum, it's almost impossible to do it if you don't have family in the United States. You have to have somebody almost sponsor you and say that they're going to be helping the process. So all of them have that. Like majority of their mom's families in the United States.
So legally, they have a right to make a claim for asylum if they have family in the United States, and their claim is based on the persecution. So no one has explained to them.
Nobody's explained the process to them at all.
Of asylum.
But here talking about what they've heard, what other people's experiences were, what family members that went through the process were more or less, but it's still kind of a vague.
Do they know
network.
people that have gotten asylum and that were part of their group or part of that have gotten asylum and are in the United States? Like all of them? Yes. He does not, and they do.
Yes.
Okay.
So he says he has a family member that's going to help him, but he doesn't have anybody that's claimed asylum before.
Okay.
And successfully done it.
But he has a family member. Are they in communication with their family members in the United States?
Okay. So WhatsApp o como Facebook.
Yeah, is that what they use? What do they use? WhatsApp?
Facebook Messenger or
Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp.
So all of them have cell phones, but they have to find a Wi-Fi connection to be able to message. Because they don't have data plans such as that.
So they have cell phones and okay.
So like so she goes through a thing and then she doesn't call because it's cost prohibitive, but she can find a Wi-Fi connection. She can do it through WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger, and that's how she's communicating with her family. He calls.
He calls. Okay.
Y usted como WhatsApp. Yeah.
How often do they talk? How often do they communicate with their?
So he said his process was so quick when they found him that he had to leave almost instantaneously, that he didn't even have the uncle's phone number when he got here, but then he was able to get it from a family member and he called him. His uncle said, yeah, I'll respond, I'll vouch for you, everything like that. So, and he says he's a really good guy and then like he's going to help him. She said that she's constantly talking to her family anytime she can get a Wi-Fi connection because, why not? Like everybody, like her family's asking a bunch of questions and they're all very worried about her and like saying how are the kids and so they've become increasingly more worried every day because she was constantly every time she got a Wi-Fi connection telling her what just happened or what happened, so now they're like they've been getting this steady stream of
what is their plan if they don't get asylum? What are they going to do?
So she says she's going to try again.
She'll just keep trying.
He says if they don't allow him, he doesn't think he'll stay in Mexico because he feels like a stranger here. But he'll go back home and try to figure it out.
Try to figure something
out. He doesn't
out.
know, but
he doesn't know.
Like maybe have to risk some uncertainty just because he feels like he doesn't belong here in Mexico, but going to the United States is an option. Or this area, like here, no Gauss, no Mexico, pero como esta área, como aquí. So like he basically would go back to home area.
To Guerrero.
Yeah.
To Guerrero. And
never gonna go back. Like just it's guaranteed death. So so she'll keep trying.
What is their understanding of the U.S. government right now and its attitude towards migrants?
It's way more respect than most Americans.
What's that?
She's like it's not a good situation, but that's the president. You have to respect it. She's like the people elected him. It's like, what are you supposed to do if you're president? So yeah, the migrants don't have a choice in how the policy. She knows that it's a very negative view. So she knows that they want to put up this stupid ass wall, that he wants to boot everybody out, like by kicking the ass as a migrant. But then he also had a shitload of migrants working in his hotels. That they
So she's on internet. She's like,
yeah, she's that they give a lung for him because he doesn't give a shit.
yeah, she's reading the same things we are.
So when I find out that she's reading the news, yeah, so what, like, news source, like, particular, or, like, from examples? There's a couple news stations that are from, Pennsylvania, like, HHA, and then Telemundo, things like that. She understands that every news outlet, even there, like, she explains it as hides the other side of the coin.
Right.
Which I've never heard before, but it's pretty cool. Like, so it hides the other side of the coin, but, you know, one's not stupid, so they can decipher what's really going on by reading.
Right. So, how are we doing?
Is there anything she wants to say to Americans?
That was what I was. She said, like, I kind of said the question a little quickly, but she understood that what would she tell the people, like, in her country, they don't do it, don't make the trip.
She would tell her people back home, don't make the trip.
Especially the children.
Don't make the trip.
So, once again, like, the misinformation that they're giving a lot of people that make this trip, she's not saying this, but it is a lot of people. It's almost right up, but they don't want to talk about how hard it was. They only want to talk about positive. So they paint everything, once they see everything through, you know, rose-tinted glasses, kind of like the expression that she's using, and makes it seem all, you know, lollipops and rainbows, but it's terrible. You don't see it until you experience it. And especially with kids, it's something that's, she simply said to not judge. Like,
don't judge.
So her main thing is to not judge people, to not judge books by their cover, not assume people are, you know, out to do bad things. If they were open enough to come sit down like you guys are and try to get the people's story, they might be able to see and even put themselves in the shoes of other people and why they're doing it, but not just simply judge them for what they're doing. And she'd like to thank all of you for opening up and like listening to her story and being able to just, you know, try to hear somebody. Things that we heard from the Border Patrol, like that misinformation was like one of the main things. Like, what about like misinformation about from people migrating about the Border Patrol? Like, what is their So her experience with her view of Border Patrol is very similar to view of other law enforcement agencies like federal is here. Wasn't the Border Patrol from under? No, I think it's the Mexican migrant. Yeah, from
Mexican Border Patrol.
Very similar. Like basically, they're out. In her opinion, they're out to get bribes. They're out here to screw everybody over.
Right. They're corrupt.
Basically they're just out there looking out for themselves and don't give a shit about people.
Right.
We gotta wrap it up because they're trying to give people food and this is the dining area.
This is the dining area.
Oh, here's the dog.
Hey, puppy. Hey, can I pet your dog?
Excuse me, can I pet it?
I'm gonna do that one too. I want to see what's Hello.
Hello.